Hello friends and welcome to my channel where I will be talking about English literature. And today we have a guest in house, my friend Manon. And why are you here, Manon? Tell me.
Well, I heard you were the best at Old English riddles, and since I don't know anything about them, I thought you could help me understand.
Yes, I could, but will I?
Please.
Okay, so tell me which text you want to talk about
Well,
today.
I heard something about the Exeter Book. Please.
Right.
Tell me. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so the Exeter Book is the largest collection of Old English poems that we have, and it's copied in about 975, is that correct? Let me just peek, but yes, 975, and it contains religious poems, elegies, which are poems of serious contemplation, and of course, riddles, 95 exactly, and it was given to the Exeter Cathedral by Bishop Leofrich, which is why it's called the Exeter Book.
I picked a riddle, riddle 64.
That's a good one.
So please tell me what makes it so special. What do you know about it?
Okay, so Riddle 64 is so special because it has lots of runes. It actually has a higher ratio of runes to lines compared to any other riddles in the Exeter Book. And there's not a lot of Old English text left to clarify these runes, which makes the riddle especially hard to decipher, and which is why we don't have lots of information about it by, scholars, which is good for us.
Well, I see. I picked the most fun one.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Well, the moment we've all been waiting for. Please, can you read it aloud for us?
I can, but will I?
Oh, please, Jessica, do. Do us a favor.
Ik zag wun und is overwong fahren. Während Berg und Eoch. Bem wes und side habendes Hurts Hegel und Ak. Suche druda del Thorn und Eoch je ver und Ak. Vleer over Siegel und Beorth Silves des Woordjes.
So I see what you mean about the runes. There are a lot of them. So,
yes.
What do they mean? Tell me.
Okay, so here we go. The first runes that we encounter are Wun and Is. Their Latin counterparts are W and I, and together they signify the Old English word which means horse. In the second line we have the runes Beorg and Eoch, which are B and E in the Latin alphabet, and together they make the word Beon, which means man. Next there's the Hegel as well as the Ak, or H and A, and they make the word Hauwok, which is hawk. In the fourth line we have a thorn and an eoch. Now there's no Latin equivalent of the thorn, but it's usually written as th in Latin, which is
We get it, thanks.
Okay, so we have the thorn th and e for eoch, and together they signify either the word for slave, theo, or thing for chief. Now these are two totally different meanings, right? Slave and chief, but scholars assume that we can use the general word man in this line. So in the first part of the next line we have veoch and ak, f and a, which make the word velka or falcon. The second part of the line is actually the first part of the last sentence of the poem, which has 3 runes in total, Siegel and Peorth, which are E, S and P, and together they make the word Earsporer, which means water track.
Right, it all makes sense now, kind of. So, if I add all this up, I should get the following translation, if I'm correct.
Let's hear it.
I saw a horse travel over the plain, carrying man. With both on that journey, there was the keeper's joy, hawk. Also a share of the power, man. Falcon rejoiced. Flew over the water track of the same people. Right?
I think that's it, more or less, yes.
Well, it still doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
So maybe it would help if we went to the solutions of the riddle. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my research, you know.
Good for you.
So I read that most scholars agree on 3 groups of solutions. So
that's correct.
Either hunting, boats, and writing.
Yes.
And seeing that none of these make sense to me, please tell me what's your interpretation.
Okay, so I personally believe that it's about writing. It's because back in the early medieval literature, journeying or traveling was used as a metaphor for writing. Yeah, this metaphor is quite often employed in the Exeter Book Riddles, especially in Riddle 51, where the unity of traveling companions is emphasized in quite a similar way as it does in Riddle 64.
Right. It's starting to make sense to me now. So does this also have something to do with the reference about birds in this riddle?
Yes, most certainly. Lots of these writing riddles feature birds in them. And, it makes sense when you think about how the scribes would write back in the early medieval times. When you think about their tools, what kind of tools did they use, Manon? Do you know?
I see. Quills. Quills
right.
are made of feathers. They are feathers. I see.
You see?
This makes sense.
Okay, yeah, and now if you pick a feather off the ground, the first thing I do is, kind of like swish them about a bit, and you can imagine that the quill or the feathers that the scribes were using back then also swished about as they were writing, so
I see.
there you go.
So, in that sense, the runes are kind of like mini metaphors, and together they form a larger metaphor.
Yeah, you could say that.
Which is writing.
Yeah, in my interpretation, the man is the hand of the scribe, riding a horse, which is the point of the pen on this writing journey, with the falcon flying above the water track, like how a plume or a quill held by the scribe's hand would swish about above the written words made of ink. And together they are traveling across the plane of the manuscript page.
It indeed describes the act of writing when you look at it this way.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Thanks for enlightening me.
You're welcome. I'm always happy to, enlighten people. Yeah.
Share your knowledge.
Share my knowledge, indeed.
Right.
So, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe if you haven't already for more of these informative kind of videos where I talk with my friends off camera. So, thank you for coming, Manon. Give it up, Manon. Yay!
Thanks for having me.
I'll see you next week. Bye. Where's the button? I cannot find the button. Hello.